Hello student, in our previous videos we have covered the first chapter and the second chapter of our elective first course, that is the renewable energy sources. And the first chapter is the an introduction to energy sources and second is the photothermal applications, and which we have been covered in our previous videos. And also we have seen some problems on the first chapter, but in this video we have start with the third chapter, that is the next chapter of our syllabus, and which is the photovoltaic systems. That means up to second chapter we have considered the different types of energy sources and the solar energy application, that is the photothermal application. But in this video we have to see, that is photovoltaic system, that means how the solar cell works and different types of the solar cell. So in this chapter we will study all about that. So let's start with that. That is the content. The content of the third chapter is the introduction, photovoltaic principle, power output conversion efficiency, limitation to photovoltaic efficiency, basic photovoltaic system for power generation, advantages and disadvantages of photovoltaic solar energy conversion, types of solar cell, application of solar photovoltaic systems. These all are the points which are in the chapter third. And we have to consider first is the basic introductory part for the photovoltaic systems, and after that how solar cell works, that is the solar cell works on the principle, that is the photovoltaic principle. So in that we will study that. And after that there is a power output and the conversion efficiency. In a power output and conversion efficiency we will study about the efficiency of solar cell and other factors like short circuit current, open circuit voltage and fill factor, all these parameters which will discuss in this point. And next is the limitation to photovoltaic efficiency. We know that the silicon solar cell has a maximum efficiency as compared to other types of solar cell, because there is some limitation to the efficiency for other types of solar cell. So all these limitation which will be covered in our next videos, upcoming videos. So limitation to photovoltaic efficiency we will discuss in our upcoming videos. Basic photovoltaic system for power generation. Now the photovoltaic system is used for the power generation. Then how it works, how we will get the power. So this basic principle which will be studied in a power generation from photovoltaic system. Next is the advantages, disadvantages of photovoltaic solar energy conversion. The photovoltaic energy conversion has some advantages as well as disadvantages. Next is the types of the solar cell. Different types of the solar cell which are based on the material which are used for the construction of the solar cell. Generally semiconductor material is used for the solar cell. Next is the application of solar photovoltaic system. Now there are different applications of photovoltaic systems. That means the photovoltaic system is used to generate the electricity from the solar energy, and this electricity is used in various applications, so as cooling, heating and other applications. So these all are the applications of the photovoltaic system which will be discussed in our next videos. So let's start with the introduction first. So let's see introduction. The most useful way of harnessing solar energy is by directly converting it into electricity by means of solar photovoltaic cells. As we seen before, the solar energy which is free of cost and which is available in our environment, and also it is a renewable or non-conventional energy source. So the harnessing of the solar energy is very important. That is, harnessing means we are able to convert the solar energy into the electricity, and this electricity is used for the different purposes. So and the conversion of the solar energy into the electricity is done with the help of different devices, that is generally photovoltaic cell or simply called as solar cells. The photovoltaic effect is defined as the generation of an electromotive force as a result of the absorption of ionizing radiation. Now the photovoltaic effect is based on the generation of electromotive force. That means if we consider the Generally, the semiconductor material is used for the construction of the solar cell, and this semiconductor material is exposed to the solar radiation, and this solar radiation absorbed by that material, and there is a generation of electromotive force, and the result in the absorption of the ionizing radiation. Generally, solar radiation is called as ionizing radiation because they ionize the material which is used for the solar construction. Next is the energy conversion devices which are used to convert sunlight to electricity by use of photovoltaic effect are called as solar cells. That means the devices which are used for the conversion of solar energy into electricity, which are the solar cells, and which works on the principle of photovoltaic principle. So this is all about the solar cells. Next is the, in recent years, photovoltaic power generation has been receiving considerable attention as one of the more promising energy alternative. We know that the conventional energy sources which are hazardous to us or environment, so there is no such a way so that we can use it again and again, but the non-conventional energy sources such as solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy, biomass energy, which can be renewable, that means it can be replenished after some time. So the alternative source for the conventional energy source is the non-conventional energy source, and the photovoltaic, in short photovoltaic is the PV, that means for photovoltaic we call as only PV, that is the photovoltaic power generation, which is the alternative energy source for the conventional energy sources, because it is a free of cost, which is naturally present in our environment. It does not produce any pollution, so it has many advantages over a conventional energy source. So this is the promising energy alternative source. The reason for this rising interest lies in the PV direct conversion of sunlight to electricity, the non-polluting nature of the PV conversion process, and the PV's non-dependence on a fossil fuel and nuclear fuel, as we discussed above. That means the solar energy is a very important energy source because, and it's widely used in recent years because it does not create any pollution, as well as it does not require any fossil fuels such as or nuclear fuels such as petrol, diesel, coal, all those things, and these all are the conventional energy sources, so they create the pollution, but by using solar energy there is no any pollution. So this is very important advantageous for the solar energy over a conventional energy sources. The solar cells should be distinguished from devices usually referred as a photocell, which detect light intensity by use of the photoconductivity characteristics of the material. That means as we seen, the device which is used to convert the solar energy into electricity, which is the solar cell, but the solar cell is different from the photocell. The photocell, what is the photocell? The photocell is a device which detect the light and which detect the light intensity by use the photoconductivity characteristic of the material. That means the material which is used for the photocell is it should have the photoconductivity characteristics so that it can detect the light very easily. So the difference between the solar cell and the photocell is solar cell is used to convert solar energy into electricity, but the photocell is used to detect the light intensity. So this is the difference between the photocell and the solar cell. Because photocell do not generate a voltage and thus require batteries for their operation. As we seen, the solar cell does not require any external fuels or fossil fuels or any batteries to operate it, because it use only solar energy, and this solar energy is converted into the form of electricity. That means there is a generation of voltage. So this phenomena is known as a photovoltaic. Photo means light, and voltaic in terms of voltage. So photovoltaic cell, that means the solar cell, and photocell does not create such a voltage. That means as if we consider about the solar cell is used to create the electricity, that is the voltage, but the photocell does not generate a voltage, but it requires the external supply for their operation. But for the solar cell there is no requirement of any external power supply, So it can only use the solar energy for the generation of voltage. So this is the basic difference between the photocell and the solar cell. The solar cell were developed during 1950s primarily at the Bell Telephone and RCA laboratories. The first time the solar cell is invented in 1950s at the Bell Telephone and the RCA laboratories. The first time the solar cell is not widely used because there is the invention of the solar cell is in 1950s, and first time the invention is occurs in the Bell Telephone and RCA laboratories. Essentially, all of the solar cells used for both space terrestrial applications have been made of the semiconductor silicon. Generally, there are different types of the solar cell, but the silicon solar cell has different advantages over other solar cell. So generally silicon solar cell is used and which is used for different purposes. As we discussed, the solar cell has a different, or photovoltaic system has a different applications such as in space and terrestrial application. We know that for in astronomy there are different types of the solar cells is used for the satellite and all those to generate the energy, or instead of fuel, though with the help of solar cell we can generate the fuel, and this is used for the operation of the satellite or in a space. So and the terrestrial application, in also terrestrial application solar cell is also used. So there are different application for the solar cells. The future cell may use such materials as the semiconductors like gallium arsenide, copper sulfate, calsulfide. These all are the materials. As we discussed, for the solar cell construction we require only semiconductor material. But why semiconductor material? Why not metal or insulator? We know that the insulator is a non-conductive material, and the semiconductor which have the band gap, that is the band gap between the conduction band and the valence band. There is a two bands, that is the conduction band and valence band. In a semiconductor there is a band gap, and which is in the order of 1 to 6 electron volt, and in a metal the valence band and conduction band gets overlap with each other, so the metals are conductive. But for the solar cell only semiconductor material used, because if we consider the semiconductor material on which we incident the solar light, so that it can absorb the light and excite from valence band to conduction band. That means there is excitation of the electron from valence band to conduction band, and so that there is a formation of electron hole pair. Now after that there is a separation of electron hole pair, and due to separation we know that the corresponding electric field is generated, and this electric field, that is the voltage, and in this way we will get the voltage or the electricity from the solar light. So with the help of these all the material, that is a gallium arsenide, copper sulfate, calsulfide, we are able to generate the electricity, and these all are the different materials which are used in a solar cell for the construction in a recent years. Photovoltaic solar energy conversion is one of the most attractive non-conventional energy sources of proven reliability from the micro to megawatt level. The solar cell is used for the electricity generation, but solar cell is a non-conventional energy source. That means indirectly it uses solar energy, and solar energy is a non-conventional energy sources, and it is used to produce the electricity which is in the order of micro to megawatt level. That means a huge amount. So solar cell is used for the, that means not only single solar cell but the array of solar cell, that is the formation of module. That is if we interconnect the solar cell in a parallel or series combination, we are able to obtain the array of solar cell, or it is also called as a module, and from that arrangement we are able to obtain the maximum amount of electricity or power, and which is in the order of micro to megawatt level. Now the photovoltaic solar energy has some advantages as well as disadvantages. First we see advantages of the photovoltaic solar energy. So first advantage is the direct conversion of solar radiation to electricity through a simple solid state device. That means it is very easy to obtain the electricity from the solar radiation with the help of solid state device. So this is the advantage of the photovoltaic solar energy. Second advantage is the absence of moving parts. That means the solar cell is a only solid state device. That means single solid state device. There is no any movable part. So we are able to move from one place to another place very easily. Third advantage is the maintenance cost is low as they are easy to operate. That is, solar cell installation cost is high, but the maintenance is very low. After installation, the maintenance is very less and they are easy to operate. That means there is no requirement of any special operator to operate that system for a long time. So this is the advantage. Fourth is they have long effective life and they do not create pollution. That means the solar cell do not create any pollution because they are able to create electricity from only non-conventional energy source, which is the solar energy, and they have long effective life. These all are the advantages, and also they are highly reliable. That means they are widely used and reliable. So these all are the advantages of the solar photovoltaic energy. But it has some disadvantages. So let's see disadvantages of photovoltaic solar energy. So first disadvantage is the distributed nature of solar energy requires an additional system. That means distributed nature. That means as we seen in our previous video, solar radiation consists of two main radiation. That is the beam radiation and the diffuse radiation. Beam radiation is the direct radiation and the diffuse radiation are the scattered radiation or global, not global, yes, global radiation. So the due to scattering phenomena, this diffuse radiation scattered here and there. So distributed nature of solar energy requires an additional system, that is the tracking system, to follow the sun path. So this is the advantages, and this indirectly introduces the cost of the system. Second is if it is required to be used during non-sunshine hour, a suitable system of storage battery will be required. We know that we are able to obtain the solar energy only in a daytime, that is not during the night times or non-sunshine hours. So if we require the electricity or power during a non-sunshine hours, so there is no any special facility for the obtaining solar electricity from the solar energy, because there is no sun during the night time. So not sun, but there is no solar radiation during a night time, so we are not able to obtain the electricity. So for the requirement of the electricity during a night time, we are able to install battery, or we are able to store the energy in a battery. So the requirement of the batteries is there during a non-sunshine hours. So this is the main advantage of the photovoltaic solar energy, because for the storage the large capacity battery is required. Third advantage is the relatively high capital cost. That means due to tracking system, all these powers, all these storage battery, this cost of the system is high. Solar PV system can produce an output only if sunlight is present. As we discussed, if only there is a sunlight, we are able to obtain the electricity. That means we are not able to obtain the electricity during night times or non-sunshine hours or in a cloudy days. So this is the disadvantage of the photovoltaic solar energy. This is all about the advantages and disadvantages of the photovoltaic solar energy. Now a PV system consists of different parts, such as a solar cell array, load leveler, storage system, tracking system. These all are the different parts of the photovoltaic system. That means generally a solar cell, photovoltaic system is the solar cell. Solar cell consists of different parts. Solar cell arrays, that means the number of interconnected solar cells either in a parallel or series combination. Second is the load leveler. Load leveler is used for the storage of the power, and storage system is also used for the storage of the power, but the load leveler is also used for the storage and the delivery purpose. And tracking system is also used because to follow the sun path. So these all are the different parts of the photovoltaic system. In a actual usage, The solar cells are interconnected in a certain series or parallel combination to form a modules. That means in order to obtain the solar cell array, there is a interconnected solar cell. That means the solar cells are interconnected in a certain series or parallel combination so that the module is formed, and the combination of suitable modules constitute a array. That means there is a combination of suitable modules after interconnecting the solar cell either in the series or parallel combination, and these modules are constitute the array, that is the solar cell array. The load leveling usually involves storing power during periods of light loading on the system and delivering it during periods of high demand. That means the load level is generally used for the during a periods of light loading on the system and delivering it during periods of high requirement. Demand means requirement. If it is required to used during non-sunshine hours, a suitable system of storage battery will be required. As we discussed about, if we want the electricity during a non-sunshine hour, so for that we have to store the electricity which is obtained from the solar energy during a daytime, and so this electricity can be storage within the storage battery, so we can utilize during a non-sunshine hours. Sometimes tracking system is required to collect large amount of solar radiation. We know that, as we discussed, there are two types of radiation, beam radiation and the solar radiation. So for diffuse radiation, the diffuse radiation is scattered here and there, so in order to collect all this radiation which is in the large amount, we require the tracking system. So these all are the different parts of the PV system or photovoltaic system which helps us to convert the solar energy into electricity. So this is all about the photovoltaic system, and all this the introduction about the photovoltaic system. So the next part is the photovoltaic principle. That means how the solar cell works with the help of semiconductor material. That means the semiconductor material is used for the construction of the solar cell. So we will discuss this in our next videos. So we will continue with that in our next video.